of the United States,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and
justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Then if we could do a roll call
Chairman Wiley,
here.
Commissioners Light,
here.
Convery,
Here.
Cruz,
Here.
Steele,
Here.
Jacobs,
Here.
Giuliano,
Here.
Murray,
Here.
Zulo,
Here.
and just checking on Commissioner Williams. No. Okay.
All right. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975 has been provided by publication on March 4th, 2021 in the Home News and the Courier News. Next, we would move to the approval of the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of April 27th, 2021? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minute.
Second, Ray Murray.
I believe we can do that by a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. Committee reports. We know we have an engineering one, so Mr. Murray, if you would advise the board as to what was discussed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the engineering committee did meet earlier this afternoon. We discussed at length the final closeout of the Sayreville pump station work. Total project cost about $92 million. And about 26% of that was on our dime. The rest was on the federal government's dime. So that project is completed. The change orders that are on today's agenda were included in the committee meeting, as well as the new professional services contracts that we'll be entertaining as part of today's agenda. And we spoke briefly about the cogen plant. Down for some routine maintenance this month. It's hoping to have it back up in working order later this month, and then at full speed shortly thereafter. And that's all that I have to report, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Next, I would turn over to our executive director to discuss the resolutions on the agenda.
Chairman, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. And begin with item 7A, which is our pretreatment permit actions. There are two renewals this month, one in South Plainfield for Ames Advanced Materials and one in Edison for Archon Vitamin. So two renewals, some good news this month. 7B is our agreement, our annual agreement with Skyline Environmental, and they provide safety and health services for us from the manuals to the review to the processes. That's not to exceed $446,000 and change for our wastewater division. The same applicable service for our solid waste division is what's on 7C, with a not to exceed $105 for solid waste. Item 7D is the renewal of our Gypsies permit for the privilege of having the DEP monitor us on 4 different permits. The cost is $694,000 and change. Those permits include the discharge of surface water, the combined sewer management, land application of Class A biosolids, and basic storm permit are the 4 that are part of that class cost. 7E is our agreement. It was mentioned in the engineering committee. Our agreement with the Harbor Discharge Group. We are part of numerous organizations that are part of the Harbor Discharge Agreement. Our contribution to the agreement, which monitors water flow and a variety of other environmental concerns, is for $15,000 and change. Item 7F is a change order, the completion change order to the Sayreville pump station, and our final change order in our closeout cost. Chairman Murray mentioned it. It was discussed in the engineering committee as well. There are a couple major components for this, but this change order includes final negotiated costs for all parts of this project and brings us to a final cost of a little more north of $92 million for the Sayreville pump station, of which more than $24 million or 26% was the MCUA's portion of the contribution. The rest, as Chairman Murray and I am echoing, it was paid for by FEMA, by the federal government. So in essence, the MCUA has received a $92 million asset for about $24 million. With that said, the next item 7G, is we did not get a bid on our compressed gases and supplies, so we're asked to rebid for part of that process on item 7G. Item 7H, which is Pure Technology. Just as a reminder, Pure Technologies are the folks that come in and check our pipes, our pipeline structure, that via voice and check for breaks and strands and so on. That's a not to exceed $754. We've been working with Pure for a number of years. Item 7I is with Hazen and Sawyer, also discussed in the engineering committee. And that is to monitor and combine our energy processes in terms of what we're doing with the amount of and the volume of different types of contracts that we have, in particular in biosolids. The idea is to analyze our energy needs and make sure that the projects that we're doing have a full flow and understanding of what our costs for energy will be with them in the future. They'll contribute to that part of that discussion. Item J is a gas booster station. It's for the engineering services in order to provide a booster to allow the gas that comes from the landfill. And remember, that gas takes a 7-mile journey before it arrives here at the Sayreville campus, to boost the flow of the pressure of that gas at the Edison pump station. Just as a reminder to the commissioners, the Edison pump station was also completed a FEMA project, again, with vast majority of the costs paid for by the federal government. We created a pad inside the wall for the Edison pump station to protect it from the storm, but the booster pumps themselves were not a permissible cost by FEMA. So we're doing them at this portion with that project completed now, making sure that we can in fact get the gas over to the landfill on a continuing stronger flow. It's over to the cogen plant, on a continuing stronger, consistent flow, which should help us with the efficiency at the cogen plant itself. Item K is for our primary tank, also mentioned in the engineering committee meeting this month. One of our tanks has derailed, and we anticipated that because this tank has for years been part of our planned maintenance. A number of the tanks have already been replaced, tanks 2, 3, and 4. This tank was slated for repair. You may recall in a previous month's discussion, we mentioned the iBank projects. This tank is part of the iBank project and part of our anticipated capital plan. The failure has occurred. iBank has informed us that we can do this repair on an emergent basis, and they will come back and fund this repair, which is why you see the $1.7 million, which is the original cost anticipated to repair and update this primary tank. From an operational flow situation, this is an excess tank. As you know, obviously we plan for the worst here. So we're hopeful that the project life for this, by the way, is 8 months. So we'll be continuing to monitor and make sure that we're in a solid situation all the way around on this. Item L is just a renewal for HVAC for Edison to come in on air conditioning and heating ventilation repairs. It's an ongoing contract. It's just simply as needed. Item M is to our water quality management plan. It's an amendment to allow the Carteret Logistics Center to join us. That will create 31,547 gallons per day to the MCUA. We can certainly handle that flow. Item N is in the same vein, but is for a project at Old Bridge called North Manor. That will add 6,675 gallons per day to the MCUA flow. Item O is asking for the board's consent to allow us to go to the application for the local finance board. This is anticipation of the purchase of the solar field. This is a $9 million project we've discussed and mentioned previously. This will allow us to go to the local finance board and make application for approval for that project. Item P is we've invested in training in our employees. And more these training, I think, selfishly I do, and I know others in the executive team do as well, that the investment in employees has great payoff. Anything from conflict resolution to the rest. We're adding training programs here, and we're asking for your support. The cost to exceed is less than $20,000. Item Q is a closeout for a $4,000 credit at the pump station at the landfill with Stonehill. Item R is for roof repairs at the landfill maintenance building. Quite frankly, it's time to repair that roof, and that's for $69,088. Item S allows us an interlocal agreement essentially with Rutgers, where we can donate excess equipment to their folks that they can use them in terms of their studies, both on undergrad and grad level. Item T is with Concord Engineering Group. The amount of contractors that can do high voltage work, and we have a number of substations here and obviously generated numerous amounts of power. The intention here is to have the deal with Concord that we understand and evaluate our power in terms of the projects that are coming up, a new dewatering building, digestion, whether it's pyrolysis or gasification or one of those newer technologies, how that affects our power, the voltage, and the things that go with it. And the anticipation would be with this contract that Concord would assist us in making those decisions that are so important to the MCA's future. So that concludes my summary of those. And if there's any questions, obviously, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board? If not, we'll go to public comments on these resolutions. Is there any public comment on these resolutions?
Charlie Cradaville, can you hear me?
I can.
Sure, Charlie.
We can hear you.
Thanks. I just wanted to follow up on the, I guess it's letter O, the application of the local finance board. Can you just say again what the project is, and if you know the total amount and the who the bond counsel is going to be?
Chairman Wiley, would that be okay if I respond?
Sure.
All right, thank you, Chairman. So Charlie, the total project is 9.8, Karen. It's a $9.8 million purchase. It's on a solar landfill that generates 4.2 megawatts of power when the sun's out. Here on the MCUA campus in Sayreville, the intention is the solar panels themselves are in high quality. They are in high quality repair, state of repair. We intend to take over the ownership of that. It was a public-private partnership. Bond counsel will probably be McManaman in Scotland. At least I hope so. And because they do great work. But the intention is to get this before the local finance board and to make sure that we have approval before we move forward with the rest of the project.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the answers. That's all on the resolution.
Thank you, Charlie.
Any other questions or comments regarding the resolutions that have been described? If not, we'll next go to a motion to adopt resolutions by consent. Does any commissioner have any particular resolution they want to remove from the consent agenda?
Yeah, this is Jim Zula. Jim Zula, if you can hear me. I'd like to abstain from Resolution T related to Concord. Our firms are working together on a project, so as Bill Northgate indicated, just to be concerned, I'd just rather abstain from that vote.
Okay, so maybe the way to do it is if
we don't have a direct. Just to clarify,
Yeah.
we do not have any direct contractual relationship with them, but we are on a team together.
Would some commissioner make a motion to adopt the consent agenda minus item T?
I'll make the motion. All right, I'll second it then.
All right, roll call vote to adopt the resolution by consent, except for item T.
Vice Chairman Light,
Yes.
Convery,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Giuliano,
Yes.
Murray,
Aye.
Zulo,
Yes.
Next, I would entertain a motion respecting item T, authorizing the approval of agreement with Concord Engineering for professional high voltage engineering services. Would someone like to make a motion regarding that?
So moved.
All right, second.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, Ray Murray.
Second by Commissioner Light. Roll call vote.
Chairman Wiley,
Yes.